Hey, all, can you hear me? Because I can't hear you.
John, can you hear us? Can you hear it now?
There you go, a little bit.
All right. Now we're getting echo though.
Yeah,
No, we're good. All right. So, good to have you here, John. Jay and Scott are both away on vacation, so taking time away. So we got all the important people here and lots of good guests to share some good information. And so I'm gonna let the team from Rice Fergus Miller take us on a journey here tonight.
Great, nice to see you all. I'm Angie Thompson with Rice Fergus Miller. We've got two things that we wanted to share with you tonight. One, we're going to talk about donor signage at the new Port Orchard Community Event Center. We've done some studies on some opportunities for us to look for some potential donors and some ways we can do that. So we'd like to share our progress. And then we'd also like to talk to you tonight about an update on the play structure at the Port Orchard Community Center in the outdoor area where kids can play. So those are two items. Got a couple consultants here today. We've got Studio SC, Corey and Gemma, who are our donor signage professionals for the evening. And then we've got Holly, who's with our landscape architecture team for the CEC. I would be quiet and let them take it.
You just let me know when you need me to advance the slide.
We brought some print copies if anyone would like to have a copy in front of them to annotate.
Thank you.
And it's gonna be really important to speak up so that Mr. Morrissey can hear us, hear you well. Otherwise, I've seen him leaning towards his computer and that's not a good sign.
thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, sure. I've seen it before, but refreshers never. Sure.
Just so heavy that
Sorry, you don't get a handout, Mr. Morrissey. We'll send you an electronic copy when we get it.
Thank you.
Great.
We'll try to describe it the best we can.
If you are using Legislate, Councilmember Morrissey, I just uploaded the slides to that so you can see it there.
I think Nick is sharing his screen.
Did you catch that, John? Okay, perfect. All right.
Great. So some things we're going to go over today for study for donor opportunities is first some plans to show where those opportunities may be. Places of value where a lot of people will be dwelling and a donor might feel very proud to have their name associated with that space. And we've done a little bit of a valuation strategy, a couple of different ways to give you an idea of how those different opportunities could be valued in a donor campaign. And then we have some design options on how that recognition could look within the community event center. Great. So first sector level one, I'm just going to go through the plans here and say, color coded the different tiers. We're suggesting a hierarchy of 4 different tiers of giving. It would be based on valuation. So a tier 1 would be the highest gift, tier 4 the lowest. This makes it kind of accessible to all the sorts of different people in the community who may want to participate at a level that they're comfortable. So the first space that we're identifying here is this level 5 atrium space in the event center. It's going to be a place of a lot of prominence. Everyone who enters the building is going to see that. It's going to be a place where there's events happening and it's right adjacent to feature wall artwork. So it's going to be a place that is highly prized for a donor opportunity.
How big is the wall that you're thinking on? That's right here. Is it just like one great big wall?
I've got some images, some renderings to show you exactly what that. So next page will show you the second level. And here we've got more on the second level. You can see the sort of purplish area is still that double height atrium space, goes right up and there's the green represents tier 2, places we think people are going to be very proud to be associated with, where a lot of events are happening, people are gathering and spending time. And then tier 3 are smaller opportunities, small meeting rooms and phone booths where there's an opportunity for recognition, just not as prominent as the others. And then I think the next page is site. We also looked for some opportunities on the exterior within the site that could be named opportunities. So this exterior plaza here seems like a great opportunity to make that a naming kind of moment where events might happen. We've also identified the play structure itself might be a great opportunity for someone to be associated with one of the amenities here. So this is our valuation strategy study. On the left is a table that lists every single naming opportunity in the program, what tier it's at, and what value we've assigned to it. Now, these values are assigned just based on past experience in the marketplace. They really are, up to your development team to decide what those final values are. For comparison, on the right, we've taken the project cost and split it up by square footage for each of those named opportunities so that you can kind of see the value of the square foot cost and compare. And at the bottom here is just some information about there's a cost associated with developing signage and a donor wall, so you get an idea of sort of how much that might be, and we'll show you those design options as well. Great. So we've got two material options that we'll show you here. These are what we're imagining is dimensional letters that are placed in an area in each of the named spaces or at the door of the named spaces that will bring that sense of importance and recognition to the donors who participate in the campaign. So this is showing that double height atrium space or like lovely art feature wall going on. This is going to have a lot of eyeballs on it. Everybody coming into the library or coming into the event center for any reason is going to have a great view of that. And we think also when people are taking photos of the feature wall, which we think they will because it was beautiful, we'll be able to capture that there again. So a subtle integration, it's not intended to be loud or overwhelm the purpose of the space, but to tastefully integrate a donor name with that opportunity. So this material option is showing a polished stainless steel material on the face, which will reflect back some light from the overhead skylight opportunity. And the next material option here is taking a much more of a matte approach, which is a bit more architectural of a gesture, ties in with some of the mullions and the other materials happening within the art.
Do we want to take the versus giving you all this information? So these are decision points that we're kind of looking for some direction. And the first one was backup page. Do you guys want to come back to the decision points?
Yeah.
And go walk through the presentation, then go back to the decision points?
Let her
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
So here's showing what those dimensional letters could look like for a tier 2 space. Those are meeting rooms, for instance. We're suggesting to position the meeting either within that first entry moment where there's clear glazing at the entry, or just outside the door, so that this can be used as part of a wayfinding element too. People are going to participate in an event or a gathering, they can go to the event space that's named for that donor. And then the next slide shows tier 3 opportunities. You kind of see these design can be integrated with some of the wayfinding signage for the phone booths and the small meeting rooms. So again, not meant to be intrusive, it's meant to add another layer in a subtle way that still honors that donor.
Is this on the glass? Is that what the name is on the glass?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like vinyl letters.
In this one here, yeah, it goes on the glass. In the pink folder, it would go on the.
So we're not talking blocks. We're, how usually things are blocks and your name on it.
Yeah.
So it's mostly if we're talking letters, someone's name all in letters.
Yes, yes. It gives it.
Could be your name if you write a check.
I know, I was looking at the check.
Yeah. It can be much more sympathetic to the architecture if we're not doing big heavy boxes with billions of information, but rather give it a light and airy feel that's going to be very cohesive with the architecture and the experience of the place. So next up, I'm going to talk to you through a donor wall. So the purpose of a donor wall is to recognize the people who have named spaces that provides an opportunity for a tier 4 donor to be recognized in one central location. So instead of their name being tied to a small room or a place or a bench, it's simply recognized as part of a community effort to help make the community event center happen. So the donor wall would include all the donors. It is intended to kind of be a one and done. At the end of the campaign, all the names go up versus something that's added to over time. So there's that option if that was of interest. So I'll lead you through 2 different options here so you can kind of see what the opportunities are. First off, we started, sorry, you want to go back? Thanks. We started with the concept, like what is the story? We don't want to create something just for the sole fact of having names on it. We want everything that's in the building to add something to the story and help enhance the story of the place. So the concept we've been working with for this particular donor wall is stories of our shores. So really celebrating the shores, the walk, uncovering subtle wonders hidden beneath the waves amongst the rocks, really celebrating that ecosystem that is as rich and interconnected as the community that the donors support. So pulled some image references here, just local, regional look and feel. And we've translated that to 2 different design opportunities. So the first one here we're suggesting is a rock wall feature art that would use real rocks from our shores, driftwood, and would be all placed together into one cohesive art piece, would be located within the entry vestibule of the community event center. So close to the book drop, something that would be seen from the exterior. You could look in and see it through the vestibule, and you pass right past it as you're entering through. So it's a high value opportunity to make sure all of those donors in the community who contributed get recognized. Everyone's able to see them.
So are you saying they get recognized twice? So they buy a name that's put someplace else, but then they also automatically go on this?
There's bigger ones, and then there's opportunities for smaller contributions. You're seeing the list of all kinds of people that gave us a dollar amount that we haven't defined yet.
Oh,
And
Yeah,
that's pretty
we get-
typical in donor campaigns to have a room or a space
We can
name
afford
or duty, and then also this central piece would recognize everyone and kind of show the hierarchy between those different tiers.
so yeah, you could just go on this one if you wanted to.
Yes,
But I hope you write a bigger check.
exactly. Yeah, this is what opens up that opportunity for a tier 4. We don't have an infinite number of rooms, but certainly within a central donor recognition piece that is, adds beauty to the space, tells the story of the community and the region, has value to just being included in that. So it provides, I think we've calculated 300 plus name opportunities to be located here in a tier 4, a much more accessible level of giving that, is obviously determined by the development team what that threshold is, but.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I don't know if Ms. Wallace is there, but I'm getting reports that other people online cannot hear you guys. I can now hear you, but the attendees apparently cannot hear you. So just if you could pass that along.
Yeah, I got that notification also.
Okay.
When you notified me, but I think we've corrected it.
So I can hear you, but I'm being told by somebody else that they cannot hear. So I haven't verified yet. But.
Okay. As far as we know, we had you muted initially. Janine can hear us just fine.
And I'm attending remotely as well, and I can hear just fine. I just have to turn up my volume a little bit.
It was a problem at the very beginning, but I think we've corrected it.
Thank you.
And so as a reference point, this plaque or whatever we want to call this. If you're coming in the entrance from the Orchard Street Plaza, and there's the double doors there, it's on the wall on the right-hand side when you're walking into the entrance.
So it looks like it's probably 15 feet tall.
It's big, yeah.
This is about 8 by 8.
That guy's really short like me, man.
Yeah,
Just wondering.
It's his shadow.
That would,
I gotta make
it's a
him
long shadow.
pretend, you know?
I like that.
I thought we were taller in our shadows.
So the names above, they paid more compared to the
Yes.
tiny one. Can you see those? They look tiny here, but I'm sure
Yes.
it's bigger.
We've done some print tests at actual size to make sure they're
This
very
would-
legible when you're within the festival.
Yes.
So the composition would be this rock and driftwood composition and then glass pane with all of the names on it. It would be the kind of thing that if you needed to make an updated feature, you could, because the names are adhered to the glass. And the rock wall, like art component part of it would be static and be designed and built to stand the test of time.
I know from our last meeting, I was asking for a cost estimate. Have you got a rough idea what, this is beautiful. I'm just worried about what it's
Yes.
gonna cost.
I do like the concept. of
It
Yeah,
is.
it's beautiful.
It's on the valuation page, Mara. It's on page 5.
Okay, you know what that is?
Yeah, at
Oh.
a range of 26 to 30,000
Okay,
for this one.
so it costs 30,000.
Can I give you a safe range here? If you want to go back to that page, I've got one more on the rock wall, just after it. So I wanted to point out the shape that's in here, where it separates the different kinds of rock, actually has a pretty deep meaning to it. So on the next page, we've got a bit of a study to show our thinking with that. We actually looked at the dynamic shoreline of the area and to see from an aerial perspective, was there some interesting line work or shapes that we could use so that it's not, sort of subjective, it has a reason for it. So we took found some aerial photos of Port Orchard, low tide, and you can see some of the shapes and forms that appear with the sediment, and these things are inlet. And we've taken those and kind of done a design study and illustration here that gives us the forms that would be part of that rock wall. So everything in there kind of has a meaning. It connects back to Port Orchard and the natural environment.
Great. Are these two different pictures though? This one compared to that one? They're not the same, right? These are just examples. Well, this one that goes curls around.
Yeah, so this is a material reference image of something that exists in real life, done by someone else or another project. I just wanted to show you an image of what the quality of the rock might look like and feel like in real life.
An artist is gonna create this. These are examples
These
of
are just what it could look like.
what it could look like. That's correct.
Yeah, we've sourced an artist in the area who can do this kind of work. So we would provide the design direction and measurements and things like that, and then they would move forward with creating it. So, yeah. So there's a second option for donor wall that we wanted to explore. This one is taking a bit more of a minimal kind of architectural approach to it. Again, we're playing with that same story of our shores, but in a less literal way. Now we're taking it in a more abstract kind of way. We're referencing some of those colors and a soft gradient that is reminiscent of the shores versus literally being of the shores. These would be glass tiles that could have the names engraved on the front, and the artwork pattern, the gradient here would be on the back side of that. So this is a thing that can take up the entire expanse of that wall. We will be integrated from an architectural perspective and have a lot of flexibility.
Is this on the same wall or a different wall?
Same wall, they're two different.
So
options.
it's pick which one you like the best.
Yeah.
It looks really good outside. That
Yeah.
type of a.
Again, these are material references of a different project, just so you can see the quality of the materials that we would want to use if we take this approach.
Is this one cheaper? Like that one
Yes.
was 30,000, what was this?
Actually, Not so much.
Oh.
I had originally thought that the rock wall piece, being an artisan piece, would be of a higher value, but we verified with two different builders in the local area who take on this kind of work, and it's not the case. So the donor recognition wall for the rock wall was 26 to 30. For the glass tile, they're estimating 56 to 65.
So this,
The opposite of what I thought.
how much?
50 to,
50,000?
65.
yeah.
Page 5 shows you that. Wow.
Can you get more names on this one, or it's about the same?
They can accommodate both the same.
I like the rock.
This one would give you the flexibility to add people if you're gonna have the installation, right?
That's the more than price tags.
The other one would too. I mean, the glass panel would be on metal standoffs. You can remove the panel and replace the print that's on the back side of it and then put it on. So you could extend the campaign into the future if you wanted to and just decide, okay, maybe twice a year, we're gonna add another layer of naming donors that have come on board.
Okay, so it is a vinyl sheet on option 1.
That would be my suggestion, is to do vinyl on the back side of the glass so that no one can pick at it. It won't have any wear or maintenance issues. But it is the kind of thing that you could remove and put a new clear vinyl on the back to update the names.
And when you're updating the names on that, the rock, it's not gonna take away the artwork, right? You're just doing it on that big square.
Just how
Correct.
Yeah, we don't wanna take away the artwork to add more names. Okay,
Do you want to flip? Oh, you've got it here. So the glass actually would be on mounts that sit a little bit in front of the rock. So there'll be a gap in between. So the rocks will stay static. That rock art would stay static. It would never change.
The glass is affixed to it.
Glass
And then would have
in
the
front of-
vinyl letterings on the back side of it. And if we were lucky enough to sell some more widgets or whatever, rooms or whatever changes, then we can update that at
Yeah.
a later date.
Hopefully when they engineer this building, they make that wall strong enough. That's heavy.
We've already discussed on our radar. Yeah.
That's heavy.
Yeah, shouldn't be a problem.
Oh, no, I'm saying like, as I'm looking at it, it's just.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got some decision points here. Let's
Yep.
work backwards. The one we're talking about right now. We've got the glass tiles. Or do we prefer the stonework?
well, that's a lot cheaper.
And I think it's more aesthetically pleasing too.
I think it's cool looking.
It's really cool. Okay, so,
But which
that-
design do we pick? We got a round circle one.
well,
This one doesn't have
No,
it.
no, if that's what the reference here, it'll be like the shoreline. And so it'll be more like this.
So that image is just a picture of somebody else's project. We're not doing that. I just wanted you to see the quality and the color of the box. that
So
we
it's gonna be
have.
something.
It's gonna be this.
What's depicted in the rendering.
It's a mood board.
We're suggesting.
Establishing principles.
You can feel.
Okay,
Wants to say it, this person.
I think I got pretty much, I heard too, you guys, The Rock? Yeah, I kind of, that's what I thought I heard. Okay, let's go backwards.
Yeah, she had me when she did the shoreline.
Let's go to this image. Is everybody on this page with me? We'll go to this page here, with the rooms with the numbers.
All
right.
That one.
Page 9.
Photos.
Okay, so I think we've got a decision points, this is the style of the letter, correct? See how the one in the top left corner's got a whole bunch of slashes through it, and the other one is more of a solid with a little bit of slashes in it. Is there a preference?
So I think that's a little different. So I think the big numbers, the number 20, 21, and 10, those are for wayfinding. This is helping to identify the different rooms.
Correct.
I think
It's just the style of the letter, or the number, excuse me, is different. Or is there a decision point here or not?
No, not on those. That's-
Okay.
that's more of a wayfinding. I think for the donor element, it's more about the names directly below those numbers. This is how we're treating the level.
Looks the same to me.
Yeah, the level 3 should all be the same.
Okay, so there's no decision point on this page, other than Public Works on the bottom left corner. These plaques, when we talked about this, We're concerned about them weathering, being vandalized and having, so I would advocate not to have naming opportunity out here in the outdoors where things can be stolen, vandalized, or be subjected to the weather.
I mean, on the bench or anywhere.
And for other than the big sculpture piece, I think it's problematic to have, you know, they work on, like, the Rotary Club does those benches where it's mounted within the bench type stuff and it's part of it, you know, on the pathway. But I think this would be problematic to have placards on there, and Eric buys a placard for Aunt Susie and Aunt Susie's placard gets stolen and we gotta replace it. And because they paid for that, it's at his house and now we get to replace that. So it's comfortable with not, I think that's an opportunity we should probably pass on unless there's strong objections to that.
And you're talking even on the wall, even the wall, like nothing, it's like this.
Building is, there's gonna be an opportunity on the building. I'm referring to things in the landscaping
Yeah, I'm
that I
fine
think
with
are
that.
it's probably problematic. Okay,
I've seen where people do bricks. Those are really cool.
we have those up here at City Hall. Yep,
See?
yeah, you walk right over them every time you come in.
They're still for sale.
There's quite a few open.
Okay, but there is a decision point we've got between the black, so if we go back to page 7 versus page 6, you've got the silver letters or the black letters.
The first option is a stainless steel face. We'll be able to pick up some light reflection, like you can see in this material reference image down here, and reflect some of the light back. The option on page 7 would be a black painted letter, so it wouldn't have that silver stainless steel face to it. We'd be able to list some moving.
And then this would be downstairs and we would carry this upstairs to the bigger rooms too. The same, whatever style of letter you guys choose between the stainless or the black.
So I think maybe are we getting a little out in front of our skis? In my past life, I know I don't get this opportunity now at Kitsap RV, but I've worked for some pretty good sized corporations that would want a logo or something on there that might be outside of that, especially when we're looking at some of these dollar amounts. Do we know who we'd be targeting at these dollar amounts as well?
That part. Yeah, that's a fair point. I think we should be open to that. I don't know how much we want to commercialize it, though.
Yeah, it's not NASCAR, but what I don't like is, I know that this is just, you just put those writings on there for the Scott and Carroll and Sears. I just don't want something like that, you know what I'm saying?
Well, if they're ready, if they're writing us a big check.
Big check, I mean, what's
And
that?
we'll get to the, it's,
Go back there again.
we'll get to that, but black or
Well,
or
I
stainless.
I kinda like black.
Mark says stainless.
I like black too.
I
think
got
it's
2
more,
for black,
Stainless,
okay.
because it's more.
John, you're gonna be the deciding vote here. I got 2 for stainless and I got 2 for black.
Oh, yeah, but what about everybody else?
They are not gotta be present to get a vote.
For that.
John?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have reservations about the whole system. Outside of, I mean, if I had to pick something, I'm probably going to go with the more metallic over the black. But I'd like more information about the whole setup.
I would just like to
Yeah.
point out that as somebody who likes to clean and notices this thing, chrome does not look good after a while. It looks really awful.
You gotta clean it.
You have to clean it. So just pointing that out.
Black
The funds better go into somebody cleaning it because otherwise it looks really bad very quickly.
And it's pretty high up there.
Mhm.
I hear you.
Black is
So,
more classic.
So
Some-
people want to put the funds into making sure that
Bolder.
we're getting a proper cleaning in that community center.
all right, let's go
Can
back.
we table this? We have to decide tonight.
Well, I need to keep these guys going here. So,
Oh, yeah.
let's go to page 5. That's
Okay.
the other decision point here.
Okay.
Okay, so I think I'd be happy to, okay. We've got to raise enough money to make this effort worthwhile. I think, so the table on the right is based on score, we've assigned all the money that we're trying to raise, which I think is low now because we don't even know what our contribution into this is any longer. But that was the previous value that we believe we needed to contribute to this project, and we divided it by square footage. I think it'll be odd to be asking somebody to give us $60,375 for the children's play structure, where the other table, they just rounded everything off. And we're working with with round values on the assigned value.
Sure.
And so
So
I would advocate for the assigned value versus odd numbers. And so that puts the naming rights to the building. We went with 2 million.
So
Okay.
shouldn't it be
I
like
know.
2.5 million to round it out so that it's closer to the actual?
I think if we got, I think that number even at 2 million might have to be negotiable. I don't know that anybody's gonna write us a $2 million
No,
check.
Yeah.
shouldn't you set it at 3 so you're negotiating from a higher point?
I don't think you're gonna-
Here's what I know, that the bank, the Kitsap Bank wrote a $1 million check for the naming rights to the football field, for the new turf, and I'm not aware of anything like that around
Who's doing the
here.
fundraising? I guess that's, who's doing
Well,
the fundraising?
We kind of are, as
Who's
I, is in the city,
Like, who at the city?
that employee isn't hired yet,
Okay, so
So we're hiring.
there's no,
not
there
necessarily.
isn't, wait,
Okay, so I'll get to that, but can we get back to this task at
that's
hand?
big, that's a big.
It is,
part of
it is, and there's a
What is actually doing the fundraising.
yeah, we don't have anybody to do fundraising, and I thought I had a solution that fell through. So I'll get back to that, okay? So I would prefer to go with the rounded values. And I think some of these might be a bit grand and we might have to look at them again, but you're right. If we put 1 million on here, we won't get 2, but I'm not certain we're gonna get 2.
So my question is like, you mentioned like the high school,
Mhm.
lots of tax write-off given to a high school. Is that,
I'm not a CPA and we don't have a foundation. And I'm not certain how that was given. So I'll go there because I was trying to not go there. So we met with the library and a couple weeks ago, and they have a foundation, a 501c3. We do not. And so initially I thought because we're sharing in this and there was interest from them to do that aspect of it for us. They just got back to me today and shared, they got a legal opinion that their foundation is solely for the library's benefit. And because of that, they're not comfortable putting the status of their foundation at jeopardy. Well, this is a great project and they're going to use their foundation to raise money for their needs on this, that it just doesn't work for them based on the legal opinion that they got. So
what did, maybe you guys know, what do other community centers do, or what was that one in Barton called?
I know that I've been up to Kingston. Virtually everybody's got a donor wall in their building. And now
Yeah, Kingston is not a. I guess that is.
It is.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Kingston Community Center.
Yeah.
So it's possible. And I don't have all the answers on that. And the employee that I'm so more than really all we're gonna have capacity to do is make everybody aware that this is available. It's probably me, you, and everybody else. Hey, we've got meeting rooms and amenities, naming rights for stuff. And our marketing person or communications person that we're hiring, right now the clerk's office handles the sale of the bricks. I don't have anybody else, so it's probably the clerk's office. We've got a list and we're gonna put this on our webpage and push it out to the community that we have these opportunities. I'm already talking to one business about one of the meeting rooms already that they have some interest in. they know that I've shared with them that, well, this isn't approved yet. This is kind of the number we're looking at. They didn't say hell no. So, you know, at that point, and if we raised a couple $1 million from this, we're probably not gonna sell all this stuff on this list, but if we raise a couple $1 million, that's a huge victory.
Is it a lifetime, maybe?
It's up to you guys.
Sounds like it.
You know, the football field was for 10 years. You know, that's up for discussion. This is just that they did this body of work. We have this opportunity. It's got to raise more money than the $30,000 plaque in the lobby. That's for certain. Or we, you know, otherwise we just got a nice piece of art in the lobby and not, you know, we didn't achieve our goal.
How long was this planned to have a donor wall?
Well, it would be nice to have the money raised before we go to construction in a year. So it's
Utilize dollars.
yeah. So
But how long was it planned, in a sense, because the community center has been being designed for quite a while? How long was it in theory planned that there might be a donor wall?
it's been part of the scope of this, but this body of work was just completed here in the last few weeks, and now it's coming.
The design?
It's the
I think we only signed the contract amendment for this work within the last year.
No, we did.
Maybe.
No, we
Yeah.
voted on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was always there.
No.
So that was the point, okay, it's the design
Go
of the
for it.
donor wall.
And are these values that you placed on here, are they in line with recent community centers
So
throughout the Puget Sound, greater Puget Sound region?
for our design team, we kind of can only take it so far. We've put in assigned values based on our experience from other donor campaigns and things that we've seen. I think it's gonna require this person who's not part of the team yet, who is that development specialist, to really get to know the community here and who may be interested in participating as a donor. That's gonna help a lot to determine what.
And that person is not going to have that expertise. They're being hired from something, and they're really a communications person. This is going to be other duties as assigned, you know, and but we're going to need to market it. And make sure the community is aware of the opportunity. And our biggest, you know, somewhere in this list is the smaller, here we go, $5,000 and $1,000 donors on the, you know, the smaller list. You know, we're probably gonna have more of those than we are opportunities to name, you know, rooms at $40,000 and $50,000. But if we get half of our rooms named, then it's, you know, a few $100,000 that, you know, we're not having to borrow in debt service.
What's the least amount of your name? Is it?
So, well, it's proposed at $1,000. See the left if we go to the assigned value, which I'm recommending we go to the assigned value, the round numbers. Look at the bottom, tier 4, you've got the larger name at 5,000 and the smaller name at 1,000. So to get your name on the wall on that piece of artwork, when you walk in the entrance, it's going to cost you a minimum of $1,000.
Oh, wow. So not even like a family could, because I know those squares down there, that doesn't cost that much. Those are.
We don't make it. We shouldn't sell those for what we sell them for because we never raised the price. It costs us what we're selling them for, and that if we're doing this just to cover our cost on putting letters on rooms, we shouldn't do it.
Okay, but then you come over here, you can go to a small room and get paid $125 for your name?
Per square foot.
Per square foot.
Per square foot.
Uh-huh.
So the formula is how big is the room, how many square feet it is, times 125 equals the unit.
Okay. So you can go, I mean, some people don't have $1,000, but they want their name on there.
Well, you're not gonna get your name on a room for that.
Well, no, maybe not a room, but you can go to a, something smaller, the phone booth, or can't you go to a small meeting room?
The phone booth is $12,000. Actually, it's $48,000 in the value.
Wow.
For all.
Kind of expensive or just
Yeah.
you know,
But actually, it's 12,000 per, and there's 4 of them, 48,000. So, yeah, you're not gonna get your name on, the least expensive option is the $1,000 option to be on, in the entryway on that list.
okay, well. I hope we get lots of people that still,
So
Wow.
it's,
That's a lot to me.
Right now, those dollar amounts, obviously, as we said, haven't been set. This is an example. Set was set.
yeah.
but if we're not raising a significant amount of money, we shouldn't be doing this at all.
I would concur with that statement, Mayor. I think we're out in front of our skis here. I think we need to have a good, solid grasp on what our corporate sponsors may be interested in before we can move forward with any other naming rights. Because you're going to get a lion's share. I mean, if I'm looking and doing my best guess with my time and my philanthropic endeavors here in this county, we're probably looking at a best case scenario, raising $1 million, absolute best case scenario.
I don't disagree with you at all.
And that's over probably the next 5-year period on top of that. So I'm just throwing that out there. I think we should know where our corporate sponsors come in first to see if there's enough appetite to even move forward with this in any way, shape, or form. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, are you comfortable? I'd like to hone in on the assigned value, which are round numbers versus these odd numbers over in the right column, which are based on square footage of rooms and objects. I'm happy to go out and chat with some people. Maybe you want to do the same, and you guys, I mean, you've got the information here, and test the water a little bit and see what you got. I'm in conversations with one business because I had a conversation the day we had this meeting. Oh, by the way, what do you think about this? And they, like I said, they didn't say hell no, but you know, they haven't written me a check yet either.
I think you test the waters, right? I mean, you can put any number you want on there, but unless somebody's willing to pay for it,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what the number is to me.
Well, and I look at it too, it's a community center. It's for the people that come. And I feel like you don't even have a place where you have a lower number for someone to be able to put their name on there. You know?
Have you been to the King City Community Center? It was done very similar to this. That's when we
Yeah,
were.
but we're different. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, if we lower the values too much,
Well, you
then
can do all
we
different
won't raise
ones.
enough money to make this endeavor worthwhile, and then we shouldn't do it.
Just saying, yeah, I think you could do it big in the corporate and see, but where's the community come in? Where does the families, where do other people come in on this?
I think we'll get some of the $1,000 ones and maybe some 5,000.
For sure.
I think that's doable.
Yeah.
And if we make it too small, then we're gonna end up with a bigger piece of things, something we've got to do to put all the names on it. And then we end up spending more money than we've raised. And it's really about raising money to help us build the community center. That's the purpose of this.
But I thought maybe you're gonna do some on the brick outside.
No,
The
there's no
problem,
plan.
the problem with doing that is you have to have it pre-sold before you do the construction. You're not removing those, you'll grind them out and put a name into them. They're not bringing a machine on site.
No, you could do it and then they put it on the wall, I
I'm
thought.
saying, but if you're gonna build that wall.
It sounds like this isn't really ready to go. It's good to have this design ready.
Here's the problem. It has to be ready to go if we're gonna raise any money, if we're going to construction a year from now. So this has to happen quickly or it doesn't happen at all. And so I'm willing to go out and have some conversations, and I encourage you guys to do the same. But we need to either do this or not do this because we're going to construction in a year.
I think having talks with some professionals and like really having a sense of how to do this. I don't think this is what do they call that? Field of dreams. You build it, they will come. I think that whenever you see these things, it's because professionals have put in the time to do the development, to get those relationships in place. I mean, it's a sales job. Nobody goes out and just says, oh, well, here's my product. Somebody's gonna buy it. It's not how in my opinion, it's not how we should go through it. That's why I'm wondering, I agree that if you're not gonna do it right, you shouldn't do it, because I don't believe in, build it and they will come. I believe that you have to get them there. And so having somebody who's going out there, who's teaching or telling people and proselytizing this opportunity is what we need. So that's the problem I'm having with this.
Okay, so we have hired professionals to get us this work product, to tell us what we can do. I'm not recommending that we hire a salesperson to go out and sell this, and that's probably, the library has a paid staff person that's all they do is raise money for their foundation. And that isn't my recommendation at all. I'm saying that we have somebody that can market this for us, that Councilmember Morrissey's correct. We need to go out and test the water and see if there is a market for this. And then maybe we'll bring this back next month to have some more conversation about it, whether we do it or we don't do it.
I think too, with coffee with the council, talking to the people, hey, would you be interested? How much would you pay to put your name on that? That's talking to the people.
I hear you.
I think that.
But your idea of lowering that dollar
No,
amount
I'll
is
say-
it will be counterproductive.
I'll say no, would you pay $1,000 to put your name on there?
I hope some people will.
Like bring this in for coffee with the council.
Certainly.
And see what the people think of it too.
Certainly, okay.
To add to the conversation about development person, one thing that we've seen clients do in other projects is hire a development person on contract, particularly to raise funds for a particular program. They don't end up being a full-time staff member that's integrated, they're contracted to help with it.
The 6-month contract or a year contract?
They're probably getting a percentage of the sale. It's a sales.
Oh,
It's commission based.
well, I think commission to get that.
So that's, if you want us to explore that. Is that an idea you're interested in? Is a commission based? You have any folks that you work with in that realm? You do?
I do.
And you want you work with them on that? Okay,
Yeah.
all right, we'll explore that.
Yeah, there was one comment from Councilman Morrissey that I wanted to just mention about corporate sponsors. I think just in our experience, sometimes we find our clients start with those conversations and then that corporate sponsor wants a giant logo or a mural wall with their product on it and a whole bunch of different things that could reduce the cohesiveness of the
Yes.
space of the
Too.
community event center. So by going design first, we're kind of defining what those opportunities could look like. And I think in your chats, I would start there. This is what it would look like. Our next deliverable to you is to show each and every one of those room opportunities with a placeholder name so that you could take that single page out and say,
Perfect.
this is what that could look like. This is what your name could look like here, and kind of try and stick to that. Add in other stuff as you need to in order to get the deal done, but start from a place of like, no, the look is set.
So I just need some closure. Are we comfortable using the rounded assigned values for a starting point?
For a starting point.
Eric, Mark, you comfortable with the assigned values?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
We're
You're not
brainstorming.
gonna bring somebody down. I mean, you're not gonna bring somebody up. That's why, to me, having a sign, if it was between 3 million and 2, even if somebody gets you down to 1, it's better to have the 2.5 saying, we think this is valued at 2.5 and then let incoming way down. That is my opinion in doing negotiations.
Okay.
Appreciate your opinion. I hate to say that, I do not like that Zebra.
No, I don't like the zebra either.
Zebra's driving me nuts.
I want to self-look.
It's driving me nuts. I was like, don't say it, sure. Can't handle the zebra.
But I think that was just there.
Yeah.
All right, so can we move on to the sculpture?
Oh, our Kraken?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you for coming in tonight.
Thanks for presenting.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it was good, so.
Kraken.
Now, how much is this gonna be? No.
Expensive.
Yeah.
Very
Okay, we ready to,
far more.
we ready to go there?
I think so.
What's that?
Are you
All
ready
right,
to
all right.
jump in?
Yeah,
please.
jump in, Holly.
Okay, so we've been looking at, you see the location, the circle in orange. So we've been looking at a location for some sort of feature element. It's been referred to today as the play structure. But looking at something that.
And I'll share, this is the first time I'm sharing it. The library's a little bit nervous from a liability standpoint, having a play structure.
I am going to address
Okay.
this. Yep, that's why I mentioned right now, we've been referring to it as a play structure. I'm actually gonna speak to, I think that it should be more of a sculpture. And I'll kind of explain why and what that looks like. But just to give context of kind of where we're talking, behind the event center, between the event center and the waterfront along the trail there. So is everybody kind of clear?
Yes.
Location where we're talking. So the image in the left there is kind of our inspiration for this element. The mayor shared it with us. I think it was something that was shared with you, Mayor, and
I
we.
think it's Councilmember Morrissey's fault. I think he did it.
I think
No, it was Peter.
Was it
It was Diener, but I fell in love with it after he shared it with us.
Okay, you piled on, I know that.
We were pretty excited when we saw it too. We've been playing with the idea of, a range of options there that we've been talking about for the, past few years, but something that is iconic, special to Port Orchard, but something that also is playful. So we felt like this really captured the essence of what we were looking at. So we loved it. We're running with it, and we have our, kind of our version that we want to share with you. So I want to walk through what we liked about this. I mentioned a bit of that, but just that the scale is really bold. I mentioned iconic. The idea of an octopus or kraken felt very appropriate for the waterfront setting. Also lends to that playfulness of what we were thinking back there too. Even though this is a static sculpture, it has a nice sense of movement that we liked. And something that you can go up and, touch and interact with. So those are the things that we felt like really nailed the vision for this piece. Looking at it a little bit closer, it does look like it's AI generated. And there's just some kind of design considerations that we need to work through that I gave hint to at the beginning of this conversation. The wood is beautiful, but probably it's going to be a maintenance nightmare, especially to keep it in this marine environment and keeping it looking like you see here. So we've explored some other materials. And then also, I don't know if you can see well from this viewpoint, but it shows kids climbing on it, up in the eye of it. We're not going to be able to do something like that without providing kind of designing it to the playground play structure requirements that would require fall zone, fall surfacing, play surfacing, and that sort of thing. So those are some of the things that that we think might be a little problematic with this, and then also just as shown, very expensive. So, but I think that we've tackled all those with the concept. So we can look at the next slide here. So this is what it is, a high level concept, just to get your guys' feedback at this point. But this is our version that we think is, somewhat, affordable, based on the original version, constructible and durable.
Is it iron, not iron, but steel or something?
Yeah,
like
so we're looking at a metal,
That's the word.
a cast metal material for this. It provides the same bold scale of the inspiration, that movement, that tactile feature of it. You can go up and touch it. You can also, even though it doesn't have the height of the original concept, you can still go, you know, showing, giving hint to kids, like sitting on it, running through it, running under the tentacles. So that sense of playfulness. And actually the same scale, what we've done is taken that one large piece of sculpture and dropped it into the ground. So it gives that kind of same sense of scale, but a lot less material, easier to construct. And then also giving views through it. So it gives a sense of safety, both day and night.
But you can't climb on it. So that's the whole concept, not to climb on it.
Yeah, we want to actually discourage climbing on it to a certain point. In the left, you can see, kids sitting on it, so kind of the lower tentacles. Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
What about putting, when you go into Bremerton and they have like the water features? What about putting that in a water feature?
Splash pad?
No.
Just the water.
It's like the water, that's the circles. And it's in there, it's only a couple feet deep.
So here's the challenges to that, because Bremerton's fountain wasn't intended to be something that the kids got in,
But they're gonna.
and they do. And just like we did, we spent $1 million on a treatment system for the water because kids get in it and do things they're not supposed to. So it's a great idea, and that was the concept at Bremerton and their fountains and the splash pad underneath. We just have to, if we're gonna do this, then it's gonna turn into something the kids play into, and we're gonna have to add a treatment system to the water because they
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, you probably have a
It's an awesome
recharge
idea, it's just
system.
expensive, it's really expensive.
Very, very cool idea.
That's what you do,
Yeah.
I think the water feature is cool, but it's gonna,
especially
no,
creature.
But,
To have the kraken coming out of the water.
That'd be amazing.
I know. But what about
But we
those
could make
tentacles?
the surface look like water.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we've given hint here. We haven't figured out, the surfacing for this. What we're, alluding to here is maybe a combination of concrete, and then the blue is a material, a pavement material that you could maybe put, blue glass or speckles in it to give that sense of water, but not water.
Right, well, those tentacles look like kids can climb on those.
So it's gonna be, what we have proposed here is metal, and so as if we want to move forward with something like this, as we refine the design, we're gonna be really mindful that they actually can't climb up too high. And so, we'll have to test that a little bit with the design, but like I'd like to point out again, the tentacle on the left is lower, so they can sit on it, no different than a bench, that you could sit or stand on, but it doesn't have to meet the requirements of a play structure.
Right.
Which makes the design a little bit difficult. And it does, not opposed to a play structure here, but that's a very different look than the inspiration image and what we see here.
And our insurance company and our attorney are probably gonna ask that we put a sign on it that says, please don't climb.
Yeah.
No.
That way when they do, and they're going to.
Oh, yeah, they're gonna.
Those letters, you can put that really nice, that real thick road.
And maybe with the tentacles, you could have more seating area for kids. I only see like,
Well, it's right outside the children's area of the library. There's the whole alcove there.
Yeah, plenty of seating surrounding.
And activity.
I mean, on the Kraken though, you want people
Well,
to,
you've got the
Sit on
the
that.
curved wall there on the left. Got that, and there's other areas within that
well, I
alcove
mean, on
area.
but I mean on the Kraken.
What about that squishy material? That nice squishy material we see?
Yeah, so we could do that. So that's the play surfacing that I'm referring to. We'd have to scale this down a bit because we're gonna need a 6-foot fall zone. So we have limited space, so then that scales the feature down to accommodate for that fall zone.
And Dennis was just sharing with me that material is extremely expensive, about $250,000.
Cause you gotta
do the drainage. You gotta, yeah, you gotta build it up.
it's so depressing.
And you gotta replace it every 10 years.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
With the big old Kraken head, could you make it where it's like a tunnel where kids can go through it? You know, like where you have the Kraken head, but you can, kind of go through it.
Let's let Holly get on, because we've got a lot on our agenda here today.
Well, and I just have a quick question on what is the scale of this? Because I know the idea here was an iconic, picturesque, something that puts Port Orchard on the map here. And I know the inspiration, looks distinctly larger than the sculpture vision does right now. What are we looking at? What are we planning for scale on this?
So it's completely scalable. So we can make it, kind of size it up and size it down as we want within, budget. And
Strength, so that's in the space.
Yes, thank you. And
Yeah, we've got a limited amount of space.
So I think that's my question is what in this space, when this vision, I can see what this looks like, but what is the scale of that?
So, for example, the head itself is probably at, 8 feet tall or so. The tentacles maybe up to 15 feet. And then, sprinkled around the head. I don't know the scale of the space off the top of my head. But I think it's probably, like 20 by 20.
Looks a little bit bigger than that, this drawing, but it's.
Yeah.
The pathway is 12 feet per scale.
Yeah, that thing's monstrous, right?
And so I would say that the alcove is similar in depth and a little longer. So it's probably, she could be right, 20, no more than 25 feet in length and about 12 feet wide.
Yeah, and we are pretty limited to that space because we've got other things within the site in that area that we need to achieve through, lead requirements and that sort of thing. So that's why I warn, if we turn it into a play structure, this feature is going to shrink even more to provide for that fall zone.
And the library had concerns about it being a play structure.
Yeah, so we're really maximizing the space with these pieces of the head and the tentacles.
So did you capture that, John? By making it a sculpture, we can make it bigger. If we go down to it, if we make it a play structure, we got to make it smaller because of fall protection and other elements to it.
Yeah, I don't care if it's a play structure or not. I just want to make sure it still has its gravitas, right? It catches your eye.
And we don't have any idea of cost.
We've asked around. It's this is as far as we've taken the design, so I don't want anybody to hold me to this until we've had a chance to design it out further. But I think we're looking probably give or take 500,000. Yeah, and it depends on how we scale it and how we construct it. But with this concept, we're feeling like we're about that.
Morrissey told me he was all in for a number much larger than that.
I did. I thought it was iconic enough that this is game changing for our community for a long time.
But we'll assure you, we're going to maximize the space.
Yeah,
but we've got constraints.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Reach out to the hockey team about fundraising.
Well, that was the first thing that came to mind to me is
on my list.
Yeah.
Me as well, and I've got contacts, so.
Okay.
Well, we can, within the space, we can scale it up and we can be, even more creative with the materials too. So if we have, if we have a bigger budget, we can take it to a next level of design too.
Go to the hockey, put the little plaque donated by the Kraken team.
Okay, are we comfortable? You got more, Holly?
So I've got just some kind of details about this. Just to give some thought and get some feedback. So next slide. So these are examples of a cast metal sculpture, just to give kind of a sense. So the three on the left images, just to kind of give a sense of quality and creativity that we can do with shaping the metal. And that's why I mentioned, we showed you kind of a simplified version of that. If we do have a little more design flexibility, we can get, really detailed with this. This also helps being mindful of it being less climbable too. So we can look at, some texture, but not something that you can really, sink your feet and hands into. On the top right, I just want to point out, so that's a real octopus, but an inspiration to us as far as texture, and then the color too. So with some uplighting at night, we could play with giving it a sense of kind of sparkle and color change to the metal. And then the next slide.
Because they do change colors.
And then another design detail that we were thinking about was, we've got a little bit of canvas on the head there, and just playing around with ideas how we can make this even more customized to Port Orchard and the location that it's at. One idea is the maps on the right there that you see. We can incorporate a map of Port Orchard, the inlet. Actually, I was inspired by the donor wall that I just saw. You could repeat that pattern, the topography of the Sinclair Inlet. That could be something that could be reiterated inside and outside. That's recognizable.
Even to have like sewer lids that are all engraved too. They have all that for different counties have that.
Yeah.
With their logos and with fish and like stormwater ones have fish on them and all kinds of things like that. You don't have to make your own. You don't have to do your own and get all put Port Orchard on it. You can still purchase them that have on there.
And so that's with the octopus, right? The stuff that you're saying.
Yeah.
Along
Possibly
in that area.
to incorporate that into the head, but it's kind of a blank canvas.
Fundraising the Kraken.
Well, and that's, based on the conversation that, heard earlier, that could actually be, our donor. It could be, that could be an opportunity to engrave something into the naming part of it.
Oh,
yeah. So lots of flexibility. It just, the opportunity there with the head kind of gives us some, like I said, kind of a canvas to work with there. And then just talking about different materials, the eye could be glass or something really cool.
Popcorn.
Next slide.
Gotta make it vandal proof as possible.
Yes. Yep. And that's the other reason that we were thinking like a cast metal that helps with that vandal consistency.
You're talking about the eye, it's a big glass or something that could be.
Yeah, you don't want something that you can pull out,
or,
of course.
Or carve your name into.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. If this is something that the council wants to move forward with, we have talked initially with a team of artists and fabricators. One, just to kind of give a test to our vision to make sure that it is, constructible, somewhat, cost effective, and then just giving kind of that detail that we're hoping to have with this piece. This is a team that we started talking with that has a lot of experience with doing this sort of thing. They're local, which is great. And so, we can hit the ground running if we want to go to the next steps with this. And then the next slide is just for us to kind of sit and look at this. And then I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, questions.
So
I'd like them forward.
I have one question. So the contract and the scope within that contract that we have does not probably cover us taking the next, if this is the direction we want to go, we're going to need to negotiate a fee and a scope for that body of work. Is that reading of the room, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And, we, are happy to help facilitate that, move that design forward. and be that kind of the vision keeper for it. I think also including that a team that can help us with the design of the metal casting pieces and guidance on the fabrication is what I think we'd want to do next steps.
How much lead time would you need?
I was gonna ask that.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna have this ready to, be constructed, go to bid in a year, I think we need to get going on it now.
For sure, but what's the lead time, like estimate?
To fabricate it, it's
And
probably
close the contract. What's your thoughts on that?
to close the contract
But
with.
you said these people are ready.
Well, we're gonna negotiate a fee and a scope with them.
Yeah.
They're gonna work
And we
with
would
their
bring on the
consultants
team, but yeah.
to design this, and then it would, part of our bid specs. The community center, this is the last thing that's probably.
That's what I'm saying, that's why I'm asking for lead time, since the thing would have to be built first.
It'll
That's why I was-
probably a year and a half to build the community center, so I don't think there's gonna be any problem of them delivering.
So what would be the lead time from the time that you would actually have to start building? Like, what would
So,
that-
so once it's designed and like the fabrication part of. I can't say for sure certain without, talking to the fabricators, but. With the design, they could probably maybe do it within a couple months, is kind of my best guess.
Okay,
In the construction window.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then with the design, I'm just saying, because if they were like fundraising, that's why I'm kind of curious, like, if that's something that we could fundraise, what would that lead time look like? So that's why I'm asking that question. Does that make more sense?
Well, I think for the fundraising, if everybody likes this, we can refine the design, come up with a refined graphic. You can start marketing, selling this now. We gave you the tool, the inspiration, and you can go out there, with additional information, scale, cost, taking this to kind of the next level of imagery. And then you guys can go out, soon, within the next, couple months.
You want to be able to show someone what they're buying,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a cool picture.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're refine what we're gonna go with.
Yeah.
That right there.
And then like the color too, because you said maybe change it for at night or something like that.
I want that tall.
Well, targeting tools need to have those people that small because it makes that.
A little okay.
But that's because it sounds like they're going to have to finalize the design based on what the person wants anyway. So you really just have to go out with something cool. They say yes, and then finalize the design. You would finalize the design.
The design's gonna be finalized,
Yeah,
before we
I
go to
think
bid.
the customization part of it, as far as a potential donor, is what we were talking about with the, that customization on the head, and we can give examples. I mean, even if you had a donor that that we could take an image like this and show an example of what, maybe their logo or whatever their interest is, we can come up with an illustration to show them. Yeah, so they know exactly what they're contributing to.
We're about, a little bit beyond time on, this is great information. So you guys comfortable with, we like what we're seeing, and you want me to go work with staff to negotiate a scope and a fee for designing what we're seeing on the picture here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So did we pay for this presentation, right?
You did.
Yes.
Okay. So what else will we be paying for at this point?
Well, further refinement of that,
Yeah, this is,
this is rough.
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, so we're gonna further refine it, but before we talk to somebody about how big they want it or not want it.
No, that's a separate conversation.
Yeah, so I was just saying that as far as if you had a potential donor, you can work through kind of what that customization is on it.
But not how
But-
big or small it is?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so that's
that-
already fixed. But we were discussing it, but it was already fixed.
Well, it could get smaller, it can't get any bigger.
No, it can't get bigger, but.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think, I didn't hear any direction to make it smaller.
No.
We're trying to as Councilmember Morrissey, we want to maximize that space.
And that's what we needed
Yeah.
to know to get further direction today. You know, do we need to scale it down, or are we going big and bold? And this is generally what the kind of big and bold vision would be.
Thank you.
Gotta make that,
Sorry, I didn't understand what you're asking.
gotta make that head look, you know, kind of mean.
Okay, I think we got the direction that we need. I want to thank you guys for coming in tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Maybe once you run with the next one, I'm gonna chat with these guys in the hall here.
Can I just give him one last piece to Mayor?
Okay, John, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to give him one last piece. Maybe we could reach out. I know where I'm come from, in Omaha, Nebraska, we have one of the world's, if not the nation's leading zoos in the Omaha, Henry Dorley Zoo. They put a ton of things out like that. I might just challenge us to see if there's other mediums that we might use outside of just metal that might be beneficial for construction. So just maybe if we could consult someone that has experience in putting something out like that, that would be beneficial.
And I said, Tacoma Zoo has that, was it bear right in front that all the kids climb on?
Yeah,
That's metal, right?
And that's a good example of what we're talking about.
and that's that metal.
Yeah, it's that one.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Yeah.
Remember, we don't want to, we don't want to make it.
Well, they're gonna do it as well.
I realize.
Let's make it discouraged.
I know, I was thinking.
It's okay to find out.
All right, Nick's gonna lead you in a discussion about.
Actually, Dennis.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's a little, it's a partnership.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. So Nick's going to help out here, but we wanted to make council aware of some updates to our NPDES stormwater permit. One of the upcoming requirements is that we will have to maintain a certain standard for tree canopy, particularly in underserved areas. And Janine, do you have that presentation up?
Don't we have it on here?
Yeah, that's, are you gonna put it up there?
We can, right here.
Okay. So I'll talk slow when we get there, but so we wanted to have a conversation with council, so we'll go over what these requirements are gonna be, but when we adopt standards, we like to see it to be community-wide, not just for certain areas. We wanna do the right thing for the entire city, so Nick's gonna start on the first page.
Actually, somebody else is doing this.
Oh, they're steering, okay. A little bit higher, here we go, this is the opening, so. Just a quick overview of the bullet points. We need to adopt and implement a tree canopy goal policies to support stormwater management. And we need to have that in place by December of 2028. We've already got a great start. We've started mapping our areas and seeing what our total tree canopy is. We're in the early stages of that. The next one is consider how existing or future tree canopy can support our stormwater management and water quality improvements in receiving waters. Next is establish a long-term 5 to 10 year goal of our canopy, existing or future projection to be used for stormwater management on city-owned properties. And then finally, specific considerations shall include maintaining or increasing canopy in overburdened communities and maintaining existing mature canopies. And I'll get into what the overburden definition is. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I just had a quick question on this tree canopy requirements. Is there like a short version you can give me about the relevance of canopy to stormwater?
Yes, I can provide it. There's a whole science behind it, but it is nature's best filtration system. It's the easiest way to say it, but I can provide you some additional.
Yeah. Don't we have a tree canopy requirement already in our comprehensive plan? I swear
We set goals to go down the road of creating tree canopy standards. We only have them right now in McCormick Village. It's kind of the first toe in the water of requiring tree canopy. We have a separate significant tree preservation ordinance, which is different than setting tree canopy goals, which is like you want 30% tree canopy once vegetation is established after replanting a development site.
Okay, so this doesn't have anything to do with the body of work that the planning commission is doing on this.
It does, because this work is going to dovetail into the adoption of our landscaping code, which we're currently working on.
Okay.
And so we're trying to
but it's Dennis's fault, not yours.
It's my fault.
but we want to make sure that we deal with tree canopy at the same time we're dealing with landscape code, and so even though this isn't due until 2028, it is a good time to be working on this now because we're also touching the landscape code.
Okay.
Can we expect to see changes in Washington state requirements between now, or stormwater requirements between now and 2028?
No, because this is part of the NPDES permit for Port Orchard. It's a 5-year permit, and by 2028, in accordance with our most recent permit conditions, we have to have this in place. So the next permit may have additional requirements, but as far as this permit, this is the.
I can assure you it will.
And we're and as a community, Nick, you might disagree, but no, I'm sure you would agree. We're in a good shape as a community because of the Blackjack Creek corridor. We just have to preserve that. So when we get new development and new extensions of the city, we want to have the standard that we can push for the future.
Don't we already have that in place? I mean, it seems like we already do that.
We do, and then when we plan and we receive these projects, we're mindful of it. But I'm going to get into this particularly. Pay attention to what the definition is, overburdened community, and that's what the permit is specifically targeting. So what is an overburdened community? It's a geographic area where vulnerable populations face combined multiple environmental harms and health impacts, and included but is not limited to highly impacted communities. So Kitsap County has gone through this exercise. I'm sorry, I'm on the next slide. So Kitsap County has gone through this exercise where they many communities do this, but the definition of how they identify is that they it's a data-driven analysis of demographic, socioeconomic, and environmental factors to identify what the overburdened communities throughout the region are, including the city of Port Orchard. Their report provides clear guidance, mapping, and engagement strategies that align with the state requirements, making it the most practical and locally relevant framework for our city. So this is the standard that the entire county uses. So
overburdened in what capacity?
So I'll get into the next.
Okay, I'm
slide
jumping ahead.
a little bit.
Okay.
And then I'll go back if you don't. So here we go. So this is our identified overburdened community area is the Bethel corridor. Predominantly there. It used to be downtown, but that's changed with this last.
No, this is downtown.
Yeah, this is downtown.
Yeah, this is the downtown census tract. So using the county's overburden community assessment, it is the census tract that includes downtown and is bordered by Highway 16 and Blackjack Creek that is our overburden community.
I think you have opportunities.
Yeah, opportunities.
You got.
Now it sounds to be, but now it's not.
Sorry, yes.
Cause I was with you and I was like, wait, yeah.
Yes, thank you. So the key factors that determine what the overburdened population is, it's social, economic, high poverty, education factors, limited internet access, unemployment up to 18%, health and environment, flood hazard if you're in a flood hazard zone, and pathogen impaired waterways.
Okay, I got a question.
Yep.
So you said it's over where burden, what resident, so who doesn't get where is the transportation where they don't, our community doesn't go there for kids that, you know.
That's just one of the variables that help determine if it's.
Okay, well, what about internet? Is there a place?
Just a variable.
So these are all this, but where?
So
We don't
Port
have this
Orchard,
in Port Orchard.
so
do
Port
we?
Orchard, it could be the social economic, it could be the household income that's driving it. We are on Sinclair Inlet, so I don't think we're hitting the pathogen containing waterways.
No, there's a
there-
TMDL, I believe, for
There's right.
Sinclair Inlet, and then there's coastal flooding, and so that's presumably the flood hazard is mainly coastal. I don't think Blackjack Creek has a lot of flooding.
So we don't have to,
Education factors.
yeah, we don't have to think all these things. These are just some of the things that can contribute to the area being identified as overburdened. And so the same exercise, every county throughout the state, similar guidance, and they target. If you go on the was it Commerce's website, you can just kind of explore all throughout the city, and you'd be surprised at where you see these pop up.
So do you think that the Commerce has the raw data? Cause I was trying to look, I went to that website that was highlighted on the first slide. Or the previous slide, and it gave like this overall report, but no like raw data to look at. And then when I looked at the map, like on, let's say, low income, it actually also included Eastport Orchard, so I was trying to figure out like why track 922 would be like looked at more than even like EPO. To like see what that difference was, but I couldn't see the data that would like help like elucidate this.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, maybe right now you said overburden audience is multi-unit dwelling residents. I know that they have like a lot of they have like a lot of duplexes, but maybe does this part have more like I couldn't see because they were all low income.
I don't know if it gets into that level that you can crunch that. I mean, it's this body of work, it can be used for grant applications. It's a identifier. Do we use this for RCO or for,
We haven't used this report previously, but this is the report that all of the jurisdictions in Kitsap County are choosing to use, including the county, for this NPDES permit requirement. I think that, I don't think you're bound to use this, but we would have to come up with something else in its place, which I think this is really the best thing that we have without commissioning our own stuff.
Right, paying a consultant to.
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah, the data is really held at the city, at the county level.
Yeah,
They did
that's what
the
I'm thinking.
report.
Right, okay.
And so when I, sorry.
Oh, no, yeah.
No, so we'll be applying for a Department of Commerce loan for the water intertie when we intertie the two systems. And one of the questions is, how does this project benefit underburdened communities? We have this body.
Oh,
of work,
yeah, right there.
And this is, it's that standard data that everybody's been.
Okay, thanks for explaining that. Thank you.
Nick's the expert. I'm just
I'm
just for the trees.
I know, but you pulled it together.
I was wondering about the East Orchard census tract because it does have a lower income overall than this census tract. And so if there's something in the report that it's shown in one map and not the other, we should reach out and just verify that this is the only one that's considered overburdened per the report. And then that other census tract fell out for some reason.
Yeah.
Eastport Orchard isn't in the city. It's in county.
No, the Bethel corridor census tract that is in the
Okay.
opportunity zone,
Mhm.
that has a lower income, and you'll see that when we get to the opportunity zone discussion, which was why I was surprised that it wasn't one of the overburdened census tracts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're at the last page now. And so just the goals for tonight, just a second here. Okay. So we wanted to set long-term goals for the city, the entire city and our city-owned property. So we don't want to be in silos. We want to plan for the future tree canopies where it's standard for everything. We want to integrate stormwater management, use existing and future canopy to reduce runoff and improve water quality. And then lastly, prioritize equity, maintain and enhance the canopy in our local communities. And I will provide additional information on the benefits of tree canopies and stormwater.
So,
You will or you are.
I will. I think the talk for
so for our city-owned properties, and we want the overhang, canopies, that means we have to keep so many trees.
Correct.
What about, McCormick Woods, man, that was like wiped out.
Hey, it's called woods. What do you want?
Trails.
Trails. Well, I was thinking, man, that's
And
not.
village,
canopy
and
John
out
lives in
there.
the meadow.
So they are planting trees, and if you drive around McCormick Woods Drive, the loop, most of those trees are now 25 and 30 years old because they planted those at the time they cleared it. So McCormick Woods had a lot of that same clearing, and now that the trees are more mature and you have some canopy, people feel like it's always been that way, but the trees grow slowly, and McCormick West is going to be the same way. They're planting a ton of trees as they're developing these areas, and in 25 years, you're not going to recognize it compared to today in terms of canopy.
Okay.
And land use, we just did a swap between not building basically huge parks, make more pocket parks versus the huge parks,
Mhm.
kind of made that negotiation with the developer.
Oh, yeah, there's a development agreement that we're negotiating where we're asking for some enhancements to tree canopy in the older part of Woods. There's a few areas that didn't get planted very well where we're hoping they can add some trees. And they're also we're adding, we're proposing that there's going to be 2 trees planted per lot or maybe it's 1 tree per lot plus the street trees throughout the remaining phases of McCormick Woods, which is more than what they're currently required to do. So.
Yeah, so there's things out there that is.
Right,
When
right.
this program gets put in place, are we going to be date forward from the date of implementation, or are we gonna have to roll back?
It'll be going forward, so We'll adopt a standard for new development that says that new development shall have landscape plans that at maturity provide a target for canopy, 30%. But the landscape architect can identify, if you plant a Douglas fir in this location, how big is that after a certain number of years, rather than how big is it on day one, and you just have to be patient while
We don't need to go back, concern ourselves with going back on city-owned properties.
We do, so that they do want us to make enhancements to city-owned property. So where we have right of way, where there's opportunities for planting trees, whether it's in a landscape strip or
Water quality device.
Yeah, there's all kinds of opportunities for us to add trees, and so
Our
they
stormwater
want us
part,
to have a plan to plant those trees, and maybe it's 50 trees a year or something that we're trying to plant,
But you can still wipe it out, but I was asking you and you say, no, we gotta keep some of those trees.
Well, if you develop something and you remove trees, you have to not only replace those trees, but you have to add additional trees.
where I came from, it was like 2 for 1, depending on the caliper of the tree. So if you took down a significant tree, you're offsetting the impact. But we are using our stormwater park as helping us meet this standard for the new permit.
In the city of Port Orchard, it says any tree with a diameter of 18 to 22 inches has to be replaced at a half a tree per tree removed. Anything above that must be replaced 1 per 1. Anything below that, I don't remember.
Have you had experience with that?
Maybe.
So I mean, it gets pretty, I don't want to say the word crazy, but some agencies are 6-inch caliper, multiple trees. Which 6-inch caliper it's not a significant tree. An alder could be in 6-inch caliper in 3 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those just grow. And then, overburdened communities, what's the overburdened community that we have in our city?
This map right here. That area meets the standard in Kitsap County as an
So
overburden.
Blackjack Creek
Is it?
to the highway.
Yeah, the east side is Blackjack Creek, the west side is Highway 16, and then it kind of cuts around Ross Point down towards the west.
So when we say overburden community, it's not everybody in the community. It's a geographic area where
On average.
where a population meets some of those bullet points that we went through. Could be
Maybe a smaller one, a smaller little. neighborhood.
It could be clusters, correct? But the maps, if you look at all the areas throughout the state, they're not isolated. I didn't see any isolated tiny like block square radiuses. They're usually a pretty.
It's by census tract, so
By census
either the
tract.
census tract has enough people who meet those criteria that it is considered overburdened, or it doesn't, in which case it's not considered overburdened, even though there might be a pocket of that census tract that is overburdened. But it's by census tract, and those are that's the reporting area for our data collection.
We got that map in here, because I feel like I've seen it.
Yeah, it's in the back.
Are we ready to move on to opportunity zones?
Oh, you didn't go into presentation?
That was it. It was
Okay, I
right
wasn't
quick.
sure. I don't know why we were living on another page.
All right, and could whoever's sharing the packet, please go to the map on the next page. So the city was just notified that the Department of Commerce is soliciting proposals for opportunity zones. And this is the Opportunity Zones 2.0 program, which came out of the One Big Beautiful Bill that was recently passed. In the previous Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017, the Opportunity Zone was created, and that was a program that actually had pretty broad bipartisan support. And it's a way to leverage investment in again, kind of areas that have that are underserved, but in this case, it's more focused on purely incomes, not other considerations. And so back in 2017 or 2018, when the governor asked cities to nominate census tracts to be opportunity zones, Port Orchard was very successful. We actually had 2 census tracts out of 3 total in Kitsap County that were designated. And as a result of that, you saw a lot of investment in Port Orchard, but I think if you go back and look at our REIT reports, you'll see that a ton of apartment complexes in Port Orchard sold. And I think a lot of that had to do with opportunity zones where people had capital gains. They wanted to invest in a property, and it was triggering REIT revenues for the city. I can't say for sure that that happened in every case, but we had a lot of apartment sales during that period. So the Opportunity Zones 1.0 is currently winding down. I believe either 2025 was the last year, or maybe it still rolls into 2026. But then this is being rebooted now this year, and at the end of the year, the governor is going to identify which zones have been nominated. And so there are more eligible census tracts in the state of Washington than there are slots, and so the governor is going to have to pick them through a nomination process. So Port Orchard on this map, we have 2 eligible census tracts, and these are purely based on income. The threshold is that the median family income be 70% or below average. And so in the Bethel corridor to the north, and then to the south, which is near Sedgwick and Bethel, the Fred Meyer, and then further south into Kitsap County and out towards Long Lake, both of those census tracts are eligible for nomination. I think that previously our downtown census tract was an opportunity zone, and it is no longer eligible because the income has risen, but also the criteria changed. It used to be an 80% threshold. They lowered it to 70 so that the money is flowing a lot through those areas that most need investment according to the federal policy.
How many slots are there, Nick?
It's on the Department of Commerce website. I think it's fewer than 100. And there's a percentage that are rural and there's a percentage that are urban. Ours would be rural, and so we're competing with nearly everything in Eastern Washington. I think once you're out in like Benton County, like there are half the county or even full counties that are one census tract because the population is so low. There's also tribal considerations. I believe the tribes are going to get a certain number of slots. One of the interesting things about the southernmost slot here is that
Fort Madison
Enterprises just bought 40 acres in Port Orchard.
And
so that may be eligible where if we talk to the tribe, we could say, hey, would you write a letter of support for this because your property is within this area and this could bring investment to your property. That may take a tribal slot rather than a rural slot. But in any event, we have to make a decision pretty quickly here. The applications open March 11th. They close April 10th. So we have 30 days to put together an application. Last time we got 11 or 12 different letters of support that accompanied our application, and it took a couple weeks for my department to put together the application to the Department of Commerce. So if we want to proceed, we should pick one or both of these to seek, and then we can get started on an application.
With 281 cities in the state and counties, then all the counties, we hit a home. We'll be lucky to get one, I think. We hit a home run last time with this, but I think there were more slots available getting 2. There was
Bremerton only had 1, and they had 5 eligible.
We did an excellent job on our application on this.
So what are you asking, but
Why would we not?
yeah, what are you asking?
Apply for
Well, I think there's an opportunity, I mean, I just wrote it down here for me to reach out to Ryan over at Fort Madison Enterprises and say, hey, are you guys considering applying? Because they're gonna get their own separate allocation. So we want them to apply for the one south, and then we apply for the one to the north. And then hope that's how we get our 2.
And both census tracts cross over into the unincorporated county, so presumably the county commissioners would be supportive of this request as well, although I don't know if Bremerton or other areas in the county are also going to be asking them for that support.
They'll write a letter for everybody.
I think the
So what do you want?
I want you to say, Nick, go forward and prepare an application.
Yeah.
Wait, I gotta.
What's our cost? Is there a fee for it, Nick?
Staff time.
It's just staff time.
It's just staff time because, I think we had 3 last time in our county, right? Both 2 in Port Orchard and 1 in Bremerton. And as far as I know, the only actual development that actually benefited from that was Marina Square. Is that correct?
No, I think that in Port Orchard, in the Bethel corridor, you had the Blueberry Apartments, you had
and they used the
Geiger subdivision. Even single family residential subdivisions are eligible if somebody uses a capital gain to purchase or invest in property or a business. They can defer and discharge those capital gains taxes.
Oh yeah, no, I know how that worked, but so we know that they used it.
I don't know, I don't have information to individual tax returns to know who has used it. But I do know that there are parcels that are owned by Opportunity Zone funds. It'll say like OZ Fund and then have a name associated with it on the assessor information. So presumably that's owned by an Opportunity Zone fund. But yeah, I
Is
couldn't
the
tell you
project
how many
where-
there are. I can just tell you we've had a whole lot of development and investment in Port Orchard, and it just so happens that we had a lot of Opportunity Zones as well.
Question for you.
Okay, because about the only other thing I have concern about is, again, we always talk about our capacity. I want to make sure that we're getting a benefit as a community for it if we're going to be absorbing our limited capacity there to begin with.
Yeah, and we did see activity to it, and even another project is the Starbucks on Sedgwick and the adjoining apartment project is still in permitting. So that was also an Opportunity Zone.
And I would add that Home Depot, the Home Depot site is within this area, and so they keep asking us for
Incentives.
incentives, and so I think renewing the Opportunity Zone potentially is gonna help that store get built. But I would say that the way the law is set up, so first of all, Opportunity Zones are now permanent in the tax code. And so every 10 years, we're going to have a request for Opportunity Zones to be designated. If this area, if we have a bunch of development and the median family income goes up, these may not be eligible the next time around when we have new census data. So this may be the last bite at the apple, because if it works, that investment is supposed to raise the income levels for the census tract.
I got a question for you. These Opportunity Zones, are these all in our city limits? Because it sounds like it's on
No.
in the county.
We don't control, this federal government establishes the census tract.
Yeah.
Okay, so of those two census tracts that you're seeing right there,
Uh-huh.
is it half and half, Nick? It's probably
It's probably more than half of the northern tract and probably 30% of the southern tract. that
is within the city.
Okay.
But it's it's almost all of it is in our urban growth area.
Yeah. Now, and then when we say this, does that mean we're saying yes to more apartments within
No,
our city?
it's saying yes to making capital available for whatever investment occurs, whether it's investing in a business or investing in the development of property, and it can be anything. We don't say what it is in terms of development. It could be single family subdivisions.
Other than Nick's time to apply for this application, it's a tax benefit for investment.
Mhm.
It's provided by the federal government.
Bring in businesses.
Yeah, businesses, and I
Yeah,
think
those
our
areas.
city doesn't need more apartments. I like single family homes or,
Okay,
you know.
so the question at hand, would you, just trying to manage it? Nick, you guys comfortable with Nick applying for the Opportunity Zones? We've got to get letters of support. And I'm seeing John's thumbs up, so I'm gonna move us on to the next item.
Okay, so we don't apply for one or both?
Both.
I'm hopeful that if we can get the tribe to support or apply for that other census, if they're gonna apply for it, we'll let them do it.
Boy. I don't have property.
Explain to me,
I don't believe we'll get two on our own.
so if we apply for both and the tribe gets that to our
So,
benefit,
here-
we may be.
Here's, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. The lower tract is where the tribe has property.
Right.
It's only 30% in the city. Okay, if we apply for both and they pick the lower one, because they're only gonna give us one, shouldn't we apply for the one that's more than 60% in the city versus 30% in the city?
So, wait, is it down here or up there?
Either of the yellow.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I say you want the
This one, we
different.
have 60% of this is in city,
60%.
30% of that one
I
is
see that reason.
Okay, and this one's only a small portion in the city. And the tribes I'll confirm, but they should be applying for this tract. And because tribal interests get some of these.
Get their own.
Get their own.
Can-
So if we apply both of them,
Sure.
they apply for this one too,
Thank you.
that one's gonna get picked. And we want this one picked over that.
that's
That would be our first choice.
West Sound,
That's
long
state.
here, so there's a lot.
And
We all, yeah, I'm with you.
Did you catch that, John? I was pointing at a map, I couldn't see.
So just from what I'm reading about opportunity zones. Benefit mainly to that one, that be to for existing properties, or are there a lot of space, there's a lot of space for new properties?
There's a lot of vacant land in both
Yeah,
areas.
but it could be existing too.
Yeah,
It could be the sale of an existing
Yes.
building, it qualifies for this too.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try to move us on here. All right, the last topic is the locations and the dates for our town hall meetings. And John raised a question. We selected all the dates, and the disadvantage right now is we don't have, if we're gonna move dates, we don't have 2 people here right now. That makes me nervous, but we don't have their
We kind of
calendars.
put them down already.
We did, but John raised a question that about not having them all on Thursday evenings. And so we said we would revisit this.
Well, why don't we just set the first one?
Okay,
Yeah.
Do we wanna pick-
If we're doing quarterly, right?
Wait. are
yeah,
you sure?
so
Is there-
I hear where you're going.
Sure? We have 2 other people gone.
Well, we've already
did say
set these dates. Cause we've already set these dates, and Eric's got a good point here. Let's just pick the locations for these quarters. And then we may move some of the outer dates, and so we'll be married to this first date probably, because it's April 2nd is the first one. June 4th and September 3rd were the others, and then at a future council meeting or retreat, we will revisit those outline dates, but we've got to get a location and get going on facilities. So we talked about McCormick Woods. We talked about here around City Hall downtown, probably could do it in City Hall. And the third one, probably out on Bethel corridor, and I haven't talked to the church I have in mind out that way. Where do we want to go first?
So I'm going to start with April 2nd first, especially with your last comment about it being a church. That is Easter weekend, and for some of us that starts Thursday night.
Okay, well, I didn't pick the necessarily.
No,
We all picked the dates.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that, telling you, number one, no church is probably going to be available on.
So let's stay away from that, from the church then.
You'd have to start with McCormick first.
And 2, I won't be there depending on what time it is, unless it starts early enough.
If April is a week later, would that
Yeah, I
work?
think the 9th, because you're right, that's spring break, that first week in April, right?
Mhm.
I'd say the 9th, because then it's not Easter
So now-
weekend.
But now we've got 2 council members not here.
So we can revisit, let's try to get a framework here, what we're gonna
Just say
do.
that- let's say-
We'll
let's say
revisit
the
that.
ninth, and then you can call those 2 council members
Okay,
and just verify. I like to use McCormick. I like to use Gathered downtown.
Yeah.
Right down the hill here.
okay.
And then I'd like to use, we could use like a church in town or something like that. Reason why I don't wanna use here is because people aren't coming here, and I think it's important to bring us to them.
Okay.
And a kind of a comfort level, and I think it might actually bring down some tension too.
Okay.
I think you might get some people here that show up often, and that you might bring other people here that might lighten the mood.
So where are we gonna go first?
That's McCormick.
McCormick.
So consensus around that, so moving it to April 9th. And being at McCormick.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So when we book things, are we gonna have Brandy call and book them?
yeah,
Or how, I don't know, maybe how, or,
yeah, or Brandy or myself, she's got the credit card, not me.
yeah, either way, right? So
Yeah.
just make sure who's.
Yeah, I just gotta confirm with the other 2 guys first,
Yeah.
that the 9th works for them. Then we'll call out to McCormick and make sure the facility's available. Okay, and then go to Gathered. I'll check with Sam and make sure it's available on the 4th. And then in the second, in that quarter, right now it's set at June 4th, but we can revisit these other 2 Thursday nights, whether or not it's a Wednesday night or
I'm down for either one.
You know,
Start in September, Thursday nights is football, so it's fantastic.
first and fifth Tuesdays, if they, fifth Tuesdays exist once in a while too. So, and then I've got a church in mind. Out of where the car show is every year.
Is it
Christian Life?
It's in St. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it's on the wrong side of the street.
It is, but
It's right there on the edge of the city. Okay, so that's the framework. I got some homework. I gotta go.
East side of the city.
That's kind of what I'm referring to, Bethel corridor.
Yeah, so.
Yes, I think that's about as far out as we can get. We get farther out, we don't really have much in the way of
No,
residents.
that's a great location. You get all the high school, that side.
Yeah, and we've got some new apartments not too far from there.
Yep.
Okay, got anything to add, Mr. Morrissey?
No, unless we want to talk about what that night looks like, but we got another meeting before that if that's.
Yeah, I'd like to have the other two guys in the room as we do that conversation, but I've got enough to work with here, get us, and then we'll add it to the discussion item next week if there's time. Okay, anything for the good of the order tonight?
Absolutely for the good of the order. Just because I was reading and I want to point this out, that the concern about opportunity zones is that for people who are struggling paying their property tax, that property values can go up just from people buying and selling, and not actually putting real investment into this community. So that's kind of what I'm concerned about from what I was reading, and I wanted to voice that for the good.
And can they put commercial into that?
Well, it's typically, it's commercial development. It's not, it could be a subdivision, but then it wouldn't resell as an individual home probably for that advantage, but it's likely a commercial property. But, all right, thank you for that perspective. Anything else for the good of the order? All right, we'll see you next week.
Cool, right?